Recently, I've had this very strange phenomena that's been happening to me, which, I listen to a few consciousness channels and a few other channels here and there. I don't really consume much else. Yeah, some humor here and there. Um, but I've had this weird experience, right, where I might record a video about a specific topic, and then the next day or 2 days later, those very consciousness channels will pop up saying the same things, but in a completely different way. So it's almost like it's strange. It's almost like whether it's like some sort of like collective subconscious thing that's happening. One example that happened was a channel, and it's almost like I went back in time. And when I say this, to the kind of like untrained mind, they will say, "Oh, what are you talking about going back in time?" Yes, you physically can go back into time, and yes, you can also go in the future. Time, and you create time. You give it. You give the dimensions, the space, and the breadth to kind of, for time to exist. I mean, even if you really think about it, time doesn't really exist, and we've always known this. Even if you consider Zeno's paradox of motion, time does not exist. It's not a real thing. But anyway, I made a video, and then this video pops up on my feed, right? And this video is 4 years old. And the guy's talking about the same thing I was talking about that day before I uploaded. And I was like, wow, this is really, really interesting, really crazy. Then it got me thinking, there's a couple of theories that I'm working with at the moment. So my first theory is this. Essentially, the phone, it's not what we think it is. The phone is somehow connected to the collective subconscious. It's a conduit between us and the collective subconscious. That's why sometimes when you're thinking about something, videos pop up relating to those things. Even generally, like things that are going on in your life, you somehow find videos relating to it. It's crazy. But then the story, the narrative, walk with me here. The illusion they gave us was, oh, the phones are recording us. They're recording us all the time, blah, blah, blah. But anybody that knows anything about data and data processing, bro, it's not a joke to process data. So even if you had an AI model that was, scouring through all this stuff, that means you'd have an overlay of AI technology scouring through constant surveillance of people's speech and video, images, text, whatever, 247, and then extract data from that, right? And then feed that back into another sort of like system, which would then find tailor-made goods and tailor-made content to feed it back. It's crazy. The alternative is really and truly, right? There aren't that many of us here. And because when you think about it, right, let me explain this. When you think about it, right, Earth is just an experience, right? And if you really, really break it down, so Earth is it's just an experience, like a theater, like a school, or simulated reality of some sort, right? Like, there's a channel I listen to, the guy said we're outside and they've just put a box over us, right? Or when I say they, essentially it's almost like, but because at the same time we participate in it, it's a strange one. But for simplicity's sake, they put like an overlay over, like a building over us, right? And then we start to till the land and we put signs up and roads and all the rest of it within that construct, right? But the point is, we are still outside in the kind of like the realm, right? Just here to experience. And what I'm trying to say is this. We are all consciousness, right? So essentially, if I am having a thought about something, because I'm conscious and I'm having a thought, using my mind or whatever it is, right? because we have a shared mind, all of us as consciousness, because we are consciousness, so we are one thing. So that thing echoes within I mean, they tell us the codes anyway, the collective subconscious. We've known about this since whenever. If you go to Jung, go to Freud, go to any of them, everybody talks about the collective subconscious. It's like we have a hive mind, yeah, a collective mind. So if one of us, i.e., because we're all consciousness, one of us or a couple of us are thinking about something, right? They essentially unlock, it's like a new synapse, a new pathway, yeah, neurological. A new one is created. And once that new thing is created, it sends a signal or like an echo through the whole collective mind. It's almost like you unlock something, now everybody has access to that cheat code. You know, I'm not saying that's what I'm doing, but I'm saying that sometimes I think that once somebody comes to a realization, we all come to that realization. There was an experiment done on this very thing a few years ago where, you know, like, I think they had, I don't know if it was Stanford, don't quote me on this, but let me just paraphrase the experiment. If I remember the name of it, I'll tag it. But essentially, they had people in different parts of the country, and they would reveal new information to one person about something, yeah? And they would ask the people that were nowhere near the experiment questions around it, and they somehow knew the answers. They did the same thing with rats and mice as well, where like a few mice found a way around a labyrinth or a maze. And once they found that kind of like solution, even though they got removed, when the other new rats got put into the maze, they knew the shortcuts. You know, so this again proves that we are one thing. Like, have you ever seen Starlings in the sky? Where like one of them just moves and they all move one direction, but you never know who actually initiates the move. It's almost like, oh, they all move in unison, right? Or even like a school of herring or whatever, right? They all move in unison, and it's like, how do they know? Because they're not talking to each other. They're just sharing a mind in that moment. So there's no time. There is no time for a physical or like, you know, actual, hey, I'm going left now. Let's all bank left. Or, you know, they all have to be acutely focused. Nobody none of them can even miss a step, you know, otherwise the whole thing collapses. But obviously, like, they are still in the wild. They still need to keep their eyes open for predators and whatever changes, right? So it's not hyper awareness or hyper focus, even though hyper awareness and focus is tapping into consciousness, because there's a difference between hearing and listening. And the difference between hearing and listening is focus, and focus is consciousness, because you are actually doing it in the present moment. Do you get it? So when you break it down, we have a shared mind, you know, and even the fact that sometimes, you know, I put videos out, and then, you know, so I might get like I was thinking the same thing. Yes. And yeah, that's the whole point. Like, what I'm telling you is you have access to. What I'm saying, you have, all right. Yes, I have had the NDE. Yes, I've had the experiences. Yes, blah, 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 blah. But essentially all I'm doing, like everything I'm saying, you have access to. It's all there for you. You don't need to go and, it's just facts. It's real. Literally, it's real, you know, and we start to see these things like, you know, these synchronicities and these signs and stuff like that, because again, this is an overlay over our eyes. Yeah. This whole reality. So when you start to see synchronicities that are well out of place, you got to realize that something is glitching somewhere. Yeah. Something is glitching somewhere, you know, it's complicated. Yeah. But it's simple at the same time. You just got to realize that you're part of the whole. Yeah. The ego wants you to think that you're not. Yeah. You're separate from me. I'm separate from you. You're your name, you're your age, you're your day of birth, you're your this, you're your that, you're everything, all those kind of things, even though those things don't mean anything, because you're timeless. Actually, you're ageless. You don't even, if you actually knew your actual age from the the beginning, it'll probably blow your mind because you've been here since day dot. So but there is no time, so in essence it's just one moment, one moment. We're literally in one moment of time, just one moment, just experiencing everything. And in that moment, everything's happening in that one moment. It's bizarre, it's crazy, but it's true. There's a video that I think Kanye West a few years ago, Power, where it was like a different cinematic kind of video where it's just one scene, right? But everything within the scene is changing. The camera does not move. The camera does not pan. He doesn't move. Nothing changes. But everything within the picture is changing, right? So that's essentially what life is. Life is just one thing, and everything's changing and moving and constantly in flux. You go in there and you participate with that flux and change and motion and up and down and left and right, time, space, blah, blah, blah. You participate in all of that. And then once that's done, you come out of it. The whole point is don't forget that you are actually just engaging with that image. You're not part of the image. And the problem is ego tends to have us think that we are part of the image, but we're not. If you look at animals, especially when animals are facing death, right? And I find mortality is a very interesting topic for me, actually. Not just because of like my life experiences and stuff, but it's a very interesting thing because when you look at animals, when, the lion has got the gazelle or whatever, and the gazelle knows he's facing death, right? The gazelle never screams. They don't, oh my God. They don't do that. If you watch those, they usually take their death with such grace. It's unreal. Like I recently saw a video of, large, so I think it was a buffalo or something, was trying to save his calf, and ended up becoming lion food, right? And it just took the death with such grace. And I was like, wow, if humans actually faced death in the same way, because why would he panic? You're panicking because you're attached to the story. The buffalo is not attached to his buffalo skin. He knows that lions eat them. He knows the deal. Yeah. So it's cool. He knows it on some conscious level. He knows we can only assume because we're humans, right? But we don't know the depth of animals' intelligence. Animals are super, super intelligent. Don't ever think you're smarter than animals, bro. I like to feed birds, right? It's something I really enjoy. And, in my house, I've got like a bird house and a bird bath and all the rest of it. And they communicate. I see them. They talk to each other all the time. Even across species, they speak to each other. When the food is low, when the neighbor's cat is around, when, like to the untrained human brain, it's just noise, right? But these animals have a whole different life experience that you are not privy to. They live in their own consciousness world. They live in their own life. They're also in their own theater of life. Experiencing life. Dogs and cats see and hear things that we can't, right? So straight away, that just confirms that they are in a different time dimension altogether than us. So yeah, these are interesting things. But what I'm trying to say is the fact that we are having a lot of these shifts and palindromic dates and stuff like that. Something's happening. This simulation we're not supposed to live in this simulation forever. It's not ideal. The simulation itself is not ideal. The simulation itself is running out of products, things to keep the play going. Yeah. We're not supposed to, all the stuff that, we're running out of this, we're running out of that. On some level it's true because it's only like a reality. Imagine a reality TV show or like a theater, right? A play. Naturally, like there's a time where we have to stop and, refuel and But imagine if all the people that are acting in the play have forgotten that they're actually actors and they keep playing the role and it keeps going all the time. Like the theater is going to start breaking down. The theater will start breaking down because the theater's not given any time to rest. They don't clean it. They're not, like the food supplies or whatever, like everything starts to be stretched because the natural course of, right, okay, so we act for 2-3 hours, and when the show is on, and then after the show we finish, then we go home or whatever. It doesn't happen. We're in the play 247, right? So you can only imagine the effect on everything and everyone around it. That's why the earth is crumbling the way it's crumbling, and the world doesn't make sense compared to how it used to make sense. Because before there was a lot of awareness. Like back in the day, I'm an 80s baby, right? And back in the day, it just seemed like people were just like, people were just more aware of things. You know, people were more aware of life. People were more aware of this play, I feel, you know. Maybe I've got rose tinted, maybe nostalgia is clouding my thoughts. But, you know, I remember Bruce Lee, who was a top actor, you know, would go on interviews and talk about formlessness. Do you understand? Can you imagine that happening today? Like, like, think about it, you know? It doesn't even happen. You know, you had people like that actively encourage people to think outside the box, you know? They've come and gone. But now there's no one, because the whole world is bubblegum. Even the spiritual teachers now are all like hustlers, you know, give me money and let me show you the way to consciousness. Give me money and let me show you how to manifest. Give me money. And they're no different from the pastors and the preachers, bro. Like, because I feel like if we've all, like I always talk about my ship analogy, right? We've all just woken up on a ship, we're all lost, right? Why should I give you my bit of food that I've got because you're telling me that you know the way? But if I know the way, or if I've had some sort of like insight about why we're there or whatever, based on what X factors or whatever, yeah, I just need to share that information because it benefits me and it benefits everybody, right? It's just sharing. It's cool. You don't need to give me anything in exchange for that. Like, it's like we're all lost, right? We just woke up in the desert. We're lost. And, you know, maybe I have a really profound dream, or I'm able to access the collective subconscious, whatever the reason may be. I take some ayahuasca, whatever, right? Ego death, whatever. And I start to see, and I come to a realization of the way out, or the way to some sort of like earthly bliss and peace, right? And coming away from the ego and separation and stuff like that. I just have to tell you guys, like, come on, yeah, let's this way. And that's it. I don't need anything in exchange. I don't need anything in exchange. And I think like this whole idea, yeah, it's a bit strange. Like, it's a bit strange. It's almost like the preachers and the pastors that will take money to give you a pass to heaven or whatever, you know. I think it taints it. But ultimately, I'm talking to myself again anyway, like I said. But then the whole point is, I feel like people that also kind of, because when I say people, it's just, we're all consciousness, just different conscious forms. I'm not even judging them. I think essentially they need to step into their true abundance and recognize that they don't actually need people's money. They have money. If they wanted money, they have it. If they truly want it, they can have it. They can have whatever they want. You see, a lot of people talk about this consciousness stuff, but don't truly believe it. You know, it's easy to say, you know, yeah, once with everything, and, you know, you're abundant, you're gods, and No, like, if you truly believe that shit, you don't actually need to, you don't conform at all to any, you don't need anything from it, because you're whole. Like, you're truly whole. You know, like a conscious person doesn't need a relationship. And that's just the truth, because what's the relationship really going to add to me? It's not really going to, Like I fill my cup, I fill my own cup myself internally. Like my communion with source, God, whatever, it fills me. It's abundant. I don't need a person to validate me on any level. I don't need a person to, and that's when once you kind of realize that the higher kind of like, once you're in community, once you realize that the higher version of yourself doesn't need any of those things, then you realize that the only point of relationship is the base desires. You want someone to have sex with, you want someone to, share your problems with, you want someone to hold your hand through this life because you're scared of life. You're scared of death. You're scared of what's going to happen. But you create. You see, the whole thing's just crazy, man. The whole thing's actually crazy. Like, if you look at all the masters, right? All the ascended masters, everybody that came and went. People say Jesus had a family with Mary Magdalene, whatever, but even if he did, I don't know. I don't care. I don't think the guy actually existed. It's just a metaphor. But even if that was the case, right? Even if that was the case, the point is, he didn't prioritize. He didn't have no girlfriend. Even if he did, that relationship was not a priority to him. His priority was his consciousness, his oneness with the Father. That was it. I don't know about the rest. I know Muhammad married like some child or something like that, but whatever. That's another story for another day. But what I'm trying to say is, I think if you seek, it even says in the Bible, you seek ye first the kingdom. You seek the communion with source first, because that's all there is. Like nothing else matters here. Like I've said this a trillion times in all my videos. There's nothing. You're not even here. Like as consciousness, you're not even here. There is no here to be. Yeah. You are just kind of like experiencing this simulation, right? But everything is actually just, once you collapse all the waveforms, there is no here to be. You are it. Do you get it? It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild to think it, but that's the truth. We need to, you see, the other day I was talking about narratives and stories and illusions that the system, when I say the system, it's just the adversary, the kind of like our nemesis, our internally generated kind of nemesis. Because remember, consciousness is everything. So good, bad, even though they're just terms, it exists. Because if you look at nature, we kill each other. Consciousness kills other consciousnesses. It's fact. It's just the way the cycle goes, right? Consciousness steals, consciousness hurts. Consciousness does fucked up shit to each other, right? Without any label. It's because it's just the cycle of life itself, right? So there's no labels per se, but all those things exist. But because we are a higher order kind of creation, due to the way we think and due to the way we are, because we're literally fragments of God, right? So we label things to make life easier for us, right? But my coffee machine, man. This video is supposed to take 2 minutes, but my coffee, I've been standing here waiting for the coffee machine to activate. Anyway, so where was I? Blah, blah, blah. Where was I? Consciousness, something. So consciousness does things to itself, right? Consciousness is, so all those things exist, they exist in the kind of like wholeness and oneness of consciousness, right? And because that those elements also exist, they are manifest in our experience. Yeah, they are manifest, and we have that also within us because we are a fragment, we're a fractal of the whole. So being a fractal of the whole, our life experience, has to mirror the whole. So everything is, all right, put it this way, bro. The whole universe, yeah, you are the whole universe, but just in, okay, best way to put it. If the whole entirety of all creation decide to express itself as you, yeah, that's what you are. So everything that has ever, all of life, all of creation, all of God's infinite power decided to express itself as a human being. Yeah. A specific type of person, it's you. So all of it is in us. Like, we're no different from the stars. We're no different from the moon. We're no different from, guys, listen, inside of you, there's electricity. You know that, right? There's actual real electricity inside of your human body. You know that, right? Inside of your human body, there's water. There's crystalline water, right? You know that, right? Inside your body, yeah, there's acids, yeah, which is fire inside your body, right? Your metabolism is literal. It's a literal fire, a flame, yeah, that burns food. Yeah. You have that inside of you. You have a mind. You have another eye inside of your brain that connects you to other dimensions, man. And you think you're just a person? The fuck? People, man. You're super powerful. You're crazy powerful. Dummy powerful. Crazy, crazy, crazy power. But what I'm trying to say is, we're all consciousness, right? There is no separation. If you actually remove all the separation, life starts to make a lot of sense from a different perspective. You know, people are just running around chasing their own tails, man. It's actually kind of tragic in a way, because they think that by chasing their tails and having all these worries and all these ego shit, they think that somehow, I don't even know what they think. I couldn't even tell you, but I don't know. They somehow feel like that's just the way to be, so they just be in that way, or I don't know, or they're trained to do it. I don't know why they do the stuff they do, but it's actually kind of pointless. You know, you've been born into this world as it's kind of like Free Willy. You remember that movie with the orca, the killer whale? You're a whole fucking whale, yeah, that can travel across your daily, a typical afternoon for you, a typical day is you swimming hundreds of miles, right? And yet you're in a swimming pool. And you've become attached to the story of the swimming pool. You think that you're the swimming pool. That's the swimming pool's home. And all these people that come in, you know, you're supposed to do this for their entertainment and blah, 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 blah. And I know you're going to say, oh, well, they didn't have any control. They just got captured, right? That's very, very true. That's very, very true. That's very true. But you're no different. The only difference is their physical capture. Yours didn't happen physically. Yours happened mentally. Do you get it? Your capture is not physical. It's mental. And I made a video back a few months ago where I was talking about all the notion of slavery and all these other like narratives that they give us. They're all like, it tells the same story anyway of like capturing the essence of something that is not human and breaking it and making it human. And then completely, you know, removing their history from them, blah, blah, blah. I think really, if you look at the parallels, it's almost kind of like a giveaway in a way. You know, the history, they don't know the history, they don't know their language, they don't know their culture, they don't know, you know, because as a being of light, you don't know who you are. Bro, I've had two experiences where I've seen, like, I've experienced what's inside of me, and it's not me, bro. Like, even I'm too, it's not me. I can't even contain it properly in a way. I'm telling you, I can't even, it's like, you visualize like if I'm a cup, you know, when you go to like the you know, where you have the free refills and you fill it all the way up and it's just like, it's bubbling inside of it. That's what it is. It's so much pure energy. It's unreal. Twice I've seen it. I'm telling you. And it's huge. It's huge. Not just physically. It's huge on all levels. Everything is expansive. Everything's huge. I'm telling you, man. So it's no different from Free Willy in the fucking pool, and he's there and he's convinced. But then every now and again, something might happen. A traumatic experience, yeah? An ego death. Something may happen. Or he might be able to piece two and two together. He might start to observe his world. Like, why are these people not? He might start to do those things. These are the things that people like me do. Yeah? He might just study his environment. Study it. Bro, I've read the books, I've done the work, because I wanted to find God. That was my thing. I was like, if God exists, I'm going to find him. You know? And when I found, because I got to a point I realized that I said to myself, because I knew that Christianity was fake, I knew Islam, I know all those things were jokes, right? It wasn't real. And then I got to a point where I said, oh, all the stuff is fake anyway, like there's no God, nothing, And then my life, things happened in my life, including my NDE and stuff. And I met, you know, and I think that you also meet, I don't know if they're angels or the word is overused, but there are people that you come across, right? And they appear just at the right second, yeah, just to show you certain things. If whether they're projections or the other consciousnesses or whatever, I don't know. I met somebody, they were telling me about spiritual awakening and all this other stuff. I didn't even understand the language you're speaking at the time. I was like, what the fuck are you on about? Fast forward, you know, I get everything. And now that I get it, that person's nowhere to be found. It's insane, you know? So it's like the same thing. Imagine somebody got into the pool with maybe a person, you know, and then maybe, or I don't know, shows the orca, a screen of what orcas actually live like or whatever. I'm just making an example. Eventually that orca is going to realize that no, I am not this thing. I am bigger than this thing. I am not going to participate in your shit anymore. And orcas I chose the orca example specifically because they're some of the smartest animals in the world. Cetaceans, different category of intelligence. People think that they're dumb. But let me tell you, dolphins and all these cetaceans are super, super clever. Yeah, super, super clever. There was a scientist that was trying to understand dolphin clicks, yeah, the language. And he did a lot of work. And he realized that he couldn't quite understand the syntax. He couldn't break it down, right? Then he started to realize, it's almost like a very crazy story, this. Then he started to realize that the reason why he wasn't getting anywhere, it seemed like it wasn't because the dolphins weren't cooperating with him or cooperative or whatever. The dolphins, every time they knew he was observing them, they decided to just speak gibberish. Now you tell me if that's not intelligence. They knew they were being observed, like particle waves. It's like, okay, he's not watching us now. How you doing, guys? Oh, there he is, he's coming out. Literally, right? You know, all life isn't, and I've said this in my previous videos, all life is life. There's no, I'm bigger than this or I'm bigger than that. Yes, we eat animals eat us, and it's a cycle. That part is non-negotiable. It's just the way it is. If you can choose to be vegan if you want, you can choose to be vegetarian if you want. Nobody is stopping you. That's your choice. But what I'm trying to say is even you being vegan or vegetarian, you're still consuming life. Whether you want to stroke your own ego, yeah, and stroke your own balls and say, oh, it's all because it's a tree and it's live fruit and whatever. It's not an animal, so it's not decaying. It hasn't got parasites. Yes, it may be true to an extent in terms of parasites and all the rest of it. But you still have parasites inside of you. No matter what you do, you have bacteria inside of your gut. Like you die today, yeah, within no time, your body would explode and there will be larvae and stuff coming out of your body, bro. You are inseparable from life. Don't you get it? Like this whole thing is life. Yeah, this whole thing. So you can choose, yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's fine. And that's admirable. But what I'm trying to say is that you're above all of that. So like Free Willy being in the swimming pool, you're actually supposed to be in the ocean. You're actually supposed to be in the ocean. You need to realize that you actually deserve to be in the ocean. Act like you're supposed to be in the ocean. Realize that you're an ocean you need to stop. You need to literally disengage from the swimming pool. And once you disengage from the swimming pool, Yeah, as humans, once you disengage from the swimming pool, it disappears. Bang, gone. Because you're not participating anymore. Because why? Because you are not creating it anymore. Anyway, happy Monday. It's only a short one. But yeah, let's learn, man. Let's learn. Let's get there. Let's do some cool shit.